Okay, slow down, Tesla, jeez. You have to drop all the news within the same hour of itself? Like, it's hard to keep up because there's still new bits and pieces of information that we're gathering from the Project Highland refresh, while simultaneously Tesla is cutting prices across the board on their higher-end vehicles and software. So if you recall, just 2 weeks ago, I did a video that I was kind of excited to make on how Tesla had just launched a standard range option for the Model S and X that was cheaper and of course had less range, but they were software limited. And a lot of people, I guess, were kind of pushing that narrative of these don't really seem to be that worth it. Like, you're better off just buying a long range S or X from inventory or used or whatever. And apparently a lot of you guys listened because those standard range Model S and X's only lasted 2 weeks. Of course, in appropriate Elon fashion, they've been wiped off the face of the website. But not only that, Tesla has reduced the pricing of the long range S and X further down than what the standard range vehicles were priced at. I hate to say I told you so. Well, that's not true. I love saying I told you so, but this is literally what I predicted would happen when Tesla started cutting prices by $5,000 to $10,000 on the S and X, and we saw that the inventory levels weren't really going down that much. For all kinds of reasons. It could be because the refresh S and X are just available now, so all the people who really cared about them already got them, and it could be coupled with the economic climate we're in. People are less comfortable spending that much money on the S or X, or it could even just be the simple fact that the Model 3 and Y have just become too dang affordable, especially because of that federal tax credit now, that it's really difficult to justify spending that much money on a Tesla, because sure, it's better than the 3 and Y, but it's not twice as good, so it doesn't justify paying twice the price. Well, it appears that Tesla actually listened in the case of the Model X, because they brought the long range down all the way to $80,000, and that means it qualifies for the full $7,500 federal tax credit. But wait, there's more! They didn't just stop there, because of course, if you put your vehicle only $10 below the federal tax credit, well, that would mean a lot of options could instantly disqualify you from that credit, right? Like, obviously now, definitely do not get the yoke on your Model X, because that one little $250 add-on disqualifies you from the credit, so it becomes a $7,750 add-on. Yeah, not a good idea. I love the yoke personally, but it's not worth that much to me. But to make this pricing and make the federal tax credit more digestible for more Model X buyers, now every single color option has been made free. This applies to the Model S as well, which does not get the federal tax credit because it's a sedan. The limit for sedans is $55,000, so they still have quite a ways to go. But I will say this is definitely the lowest we've ever seen the Model S go for in terms of cost post, big refresh with the new display and everything. Right before they refreshed the Model S, they were charging $69,420 for it. For the longest time, it felt like we were never going to see that pricing again, but now that's only about $5,000 away because the Model S is starting at $75K, and I think a lot more people are going to opt for Ultra Red now that you can get that at no additional charge. Before, Ultra Red was a $3,500 add-on. So, to get more specific, if you were interested in the long-range Model X with the Ultra Red exterior, then now thanks to the federal tax credit and Tesla's new discounts, this is like $21,000 less than it was just a day ago. After incentives, of course. Now, it should be mentioned that not everybody qualifies for the $7,500 credit because there's an income cap on it, and the people that exceed that income cap, I guess, are more likely to be in the market for a higher priced vehicle like that. But the crazy fact is, I think Tesla is opening up a lot of potential markets now to the Model S and X, because now the Model X, after incentives, is starting at $72,500, which is about the price of a Model Y Performance a year or two ago. So it gives you a lot of perspective on how much the pricing has changed, and because the X qualifies for that tax credit, that means that it's technically cheaper than the Model S, which is kind of funny considering all the advantages the X has. It's a bigger vehicle, it's got more storage space, it's got the panoramic windshield, it's got the falcon wing doors, the self-presenting doors. The one downside though of this structured federal tax credit is that, at least with how the Model X is priced right now, if you option it up to a 6 or a 7 seater, they're still charging extra for that, which means you won't qualify for the credit if you want the 6 or 7 seater. You have to get the 5-seater Model X at this time, but I wouldn't be shocked if the demand isn't quite where they want it to be after these new price cuts, if they change that. Maybe in the future they'll let you select the 6 or 7 seater at no additional charge so that you can still get the credit. They already did it with the paint color options, which I hardly ever remember. In all my years following Tesla, I genuinely can't really remember a time where literally every paint job was free and just included with the price of the car. So Tesla's trying some weird things with the Model S and X right now, definitely. Like, I think that the refresh hype has kind of worn off, and I see a lot of people online saying that, you know, the margins here is just not working and Tesla needs to refresh them again, and I'm kind of like, didn't these vehicles just kind of get refreshed? You know, the Model S and X didn't even get delivery started with the updated design until about halfway through 2021. So we're talking, it's been just like 2 years and we're all expecting another big refresh again? I'm definitely not. I think there's maybe some small things they could tweak to catch it up with the Highland Model 3, like with the ambient light sensor and the updated taillight design maybe, but apart from that, what else can they really do to these vehicles? I guess bird's eye view support with more cameras, maybe massaging seats. I guess that's something other luxury EVs have. Maybe the Model S and X could be the test bed for expanding the 1000 volt architecture beyond the Cybertruck, because that's probably going to be a pretty expensive retrofit. So maybe if the Model S and X could get faster charging speeds, you know, 350 plus kilowatts, and maybe more energy dense battery packs, and kind of catch up with a lot of the higher voltage charging EVs out there, but still have access to NACS and the supercharger network. But again, the higher peak speeds are going to be up to the superchargers and how many V4 stations are available or how many V3 stations get updated. So yeah, the Model S and X are honestly in a really weird position, and if they can't find enough buyers for them, I could totally see Tesla rethinking their strategy more and maybe getting rid of them. In my opinion, I'd be willing to sacrifice one of those higher end Teslas as long as the Roadster comes out. Like, just designate part of the Model X assembly line to Roadster production or something, because it seems like, at least in the Tesla community, the Model X is kind of everybody's least favorite, despite being my dream car. But on top of all of these S and X price changes, there's another first for Tesla that I honestly never thought would happen. But when Elon postpones things and misses deadlines over and over again, I think this is kind of inevitable. Tesla has lowered the price of full self-driving, and it doesn't appear to be temporary. They're not making any formal announcement about this. They just changed the configurator to now say full self-driving is once again $12,000, not $15,000. So they literally went back on the full self-driving pricing to what it was before the hike. And oh my god, this says so much about the future of FSD, in my opinion. For one, it proves that the take rate is not as good as they were hoping. For two, it's starting to combat that narrative that they used to push in the past, that, well, you should order FSD with your Tesla as soon as possible, because over time it's going to get more and more expensive, and the closer we get to robotaxis, the more valuable that software is going to be. So in the past, Tesla kept reiterating that the value of full self-driving would continue to climb, and now they themselves are admitting that, okay, actually it's not always going to climb. And I think this gives the customer, us, you know, the viewers, so much more pull and so much more power now, because we've proven that if we don't buy into this, if we don't believe in the whole robotaxi future, or I need to buy this self-driving package so that my car can go out and make me money in the future, if we don't buy into that, Tesla has no choice but to lower the price to increase the take rate. So if we don't jump on this $12,000 FSD price, there's a good chance that in the future they might lower it again to $10,000, maybe bring it down to $8,000 or $7,000 if there's really just not enough people actually paying for it. My wife actually brought up a great point when I told her about this, which is that if Tesla really wanted to get more people on board, they would bring down the subscription price, because she, and I agreed with her on this, admitted that a lot of people who couldn't justify $15,000, I don't really think can suddenly justify 12. Like, I feel like there's been too many promises and too many missed deadlines with full self-driving beta that so many people are like, nope, I don't really buy into this. I'm not really convinced this is the future. So maybe every once in a while I'll subscribe to it for a month, or, you know, I'll try out the 90-day free trial if you use a referral code when you order the Tesla. But especially now, as we're seeing the Model S and X prices come down, the Model 3 and Y prices come down, there's just overall less interest in people spending top dollar on these vehicles. And as Tesla is expanding their market into more $30,000 range or $20,000 range once you factor in all of the federal and state incentives, the number of people who are looking at Model 3s or Ys and wanting to spend 30 grand, and then you try to sell them on a $15,000 package, yeah, the take rate is going to be really, really low for that. So it makes sense to me that they're starting to lower the price, and in my opinion, a better move than even a $200 a month subscription is turn full self-driving beta into the kind of thing that's like supercharging. You don't charge people by the month or by the day for supercharging. You charge them by the kilowatt hour, or in some places you charge them by the amount of minutes they're plugged in. So I've been suggesting this for years, but if Tesla really wants to turn full self-driving into a more passive, high income source for the company, don't be hoping that 3% of your customers buy a $12,000 software package. No, just when someone plugs in directions on the car, you just have a little button to the side that says, hey, the car can do this drive for you for $4 or $5. And you just tap that, it already has your billing information, that's how you're able to supercharge in the Tesla, and then the car can do the driving for you, and you just pay for full self-driving beta by the mile instead of by the month. Personally, I think that would get a lot more everyday people on board the FSD train because they wouldn't have to stomach the whole $200 a month. That's kind of crazy. No, they could just try it once in a while when they're driving somewhere they're not super familiar, or maybe they're driving and they don't feel all that comfortable and they kind of just want to relax. But other times you're in a good mood, you just feel active, or you want to drive your car in a more aggressive, specific way. So you don't want to have to pay for FSD on those certain drives, but on other drives you do. So letting the user pick and choose and kind of turning it into a more passive, like by the minute type charge rate, where perhaps you could say, hey, this is cheaper than an Uber, and you don't have to sit with some stranger driving you around. The car can do the driving, the car can become your own personal little Uber or taxi service, and you get to pay like a fraction of what that would have cost. But because I don't think the take rates are that high for the $12,000 full self-driving upfront purchase or for the $200 a month membership, I think they should rethink the pricing strategy to be a bit more by the mile. What do you guys think they should do though with the full self-driving prices now that we have proof that the take rate has gotten too low for Tesla to keep prices where they are? And I think that definitely squashes the idea that the price of FSD is going to go up in the near future. And what do you think of these Model S and X prices? Do you think they'll cut them down even further, or is Tesla thinking about discontinuing them? All that good stuff. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.